Steven, how's that shoulder treating you?
It hurts, Derek. What do you think? No, treat me great. A broken shoulder a week later. Treat me great.
Oof,
What are the
oof.
chances? What are the chances?
Well, we'll get into it. Good God, I don't think I've ever broken. No, you know what? Knock on wood. I don't think I've ever broken a bone. Have you? Did you ever break a bone prior to this?
I had a hairline fracture in my wrist once when I was like 13,
How'd you do
and
that?
it was playing football, and
Oh,
I got blindsided. It was like it was two hand touch, but someone decided to uh, someone decided to make a block out of nowhere for the person running the football, and then I landed like with my wrist, but my
yeah.
arm went like that, elbow went like that. I don't know what the hairline fracture means, uh, but this one was a little more painful.
So you weren't overusing your wrist.
No, I was not.
Okay.
No, I was not.
Usually when people say they have a wrist injury, that's the joke that everybody goes to.
No, I was not, Derek.
Okay, just making sure. Welcome everybody to Just Your Opinion, man. Steven is back, barely. Uh,
I'm back with a broken limb.
so we'll get into it all because you missed a lot, and thanks to Alexander Scott for filling in a couple episodes. But
Oh shoot, Alex. Oh man, he texted me. I gotta text him back. Oh, I didn't text him back. Whoops.
nah, it's all right. You don't need to text him
Oh,
back.
damn. Oh crap.
What
Oh
what
well,
what
sorry.
what he was just wishing you well.
Yeah, he just wished me well. He said sorry about the shoulder, and then he just wished. I heard you at the beginning though. I heard you at the beginning of the podcast before when you brought him on. Before you brought him on,
Yeah, I had to
and
give you some shit. Yeah,
yeah, he gave me a little bit. I was fine with it. It made me
and
laugh.
I mean Alex, wishes you well and everything, but like any actress or actor waiting for their time as the understudy, he jumped at the opportunity. So
Right.
don't feel too happy that he texted you
Well,
best wishes.
well, as he should. He should jump at the opportunity. I'd do the same thing if he was in the same position.
Exactly. So we have a lot to discuss. Warriors are in the playoffs. This is a great time of year. Warriors in playoffs. We got baseball going on. We got the draft coming up. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we get to it all, Steven, how the hell did this happen?
Yeah. So it was the first inning of our softball game.
That's right.
Um, they're actually the team's about to play in like over just over an hour. 8:40, I think, is the game time tonight.
Can they get by
Um,
without you? Were you the missing link?
or wait, what is it? It's today. Today's Thursday. Yeah. See, I think I had a lot to prove. All right. Like the thing is, I was asked by my brother to join this team, and my brother was asked by his friend. And I think his friend had a couple of different friends on the team. So really, like none of us really knew each other. And we're looking across the way, and like this team's clearly they've been together. They got like all matching shirts with purple sleeves and stuff, and we're out here just wondering if someone has a bat, you know, making sure that someone has a bat that we can play with. So I get slotted in the ninth spot in the lineup. Top
Mm.
three go. It was a 1-2-3 inning, and I don't mean to crap on the softball team, but how do you go 1-2-3 in a softball game? I'll never know. I've never seen that before. I played softball for a summer once, and I'd never seen a team go 1-2-3 gone in
Yeah,
the
what were
top of
they?
the inning.
The Giants?
So, sort of. They were the Giants on like they were the Giants on every third game. You know what I mean? Like the every third game Giants that you're getting right now.
It's kind of getting a little
Um,
consistent, and also they would be more the Giants if they were striking out looking.
5 and 7. So uh,
Yeah.
anyway, it's a 1-2-3 inning, and I'm like, dude, all right, all I got to do is get a base hit. Like that's all I was thinking. So we go to the outfield. You know how many runs they scored on us in the bottom of the inning?
6.
14. They'd scored 14 runs,
2 touchdowns.
and I was out in center. I was taking center technically. Yeah, center field. You could have four outfielders in softball. I was technically center field, and we had two outs. I had a couple of balls hit to me. I was a little rusty, knocking the rust off, but nothing too major. There was no fly balls or anything. But this bottom of the first, it was the first ball that was hit my way that I had a chance of catching, like actual chance. Actually, there might have been another one, but I got a terrible first step on it, and it just went way over my head. But this one, it's one of those. It's one of those. It's not a pop fly, but it's not a line drive. It's like right in between that. You know what I mean? It's not like a high flying fly ball. It's not like a line drive. It's right in between. So it's one of those 50-50 balls where you got to make a decision. You're either going to go all out for it or you're going to hesitate so you can let it one hop and then try to get it in. I decided with 2 outs, look, dude, as an athlete, it's my instinct. All right. I'm going to go all out every play. So, so, so I'm charging in for the ball and I catch it.
Okay.
And in my mind, as soon as I caught it, I was like, oh, yeah, holy shit, I caught it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember thinking that in my head, like, you get that feeling. But then the immediate next thought in my head was, oh shit, I can't stop. I can't stop moving my legs. My legs are still running. I'm still going. I'm supposed to stop. I can't stop. And then normally, any athletic person would have done like a barrel roll or something to kind of break the fall, I guess, so to speak. And instead, I ended up breaking my shoulder because I was going forward, couldn't get my feet under me, and I just landed straight on it. Boom. Yeah, yeah. I got a so I was pretty proud that I made the catch. I think I dropped the ball as soon as it
Yeah,
hit the
at least
ground.
you caught the ball.
So if that would have gotten taken to if that would have gotten taken to the replay officials, it probably would have been overturned, and we probably would have still been out there. But made the catch. I got up, start walking in, and
Final out?
it was the final out, and we start going in, and dude, I'd never felt that pain in my shoulder before. I was like, if this is a dislocation, like people who have had dislocated shoulders before have reacted like just with nothing on their face, like it's just a dislocation, whatever. I was like, oh, this hurts though. Oh my god, dislocated shoulders hurt. And then I ended up walking back to the dugout. One of the guys who I didn't know accidentally smacked me on the shoulder to tell me good luck, good job for making the catch.
Uh,
Uh, so apparently, I didn't give off much of an emotion, and I just went straight to the emergency room. Jessie was there, so I had her take me to the emergency room just straight away. And my brother told me later on that none of the team knew that I actually hurt myself, so they all thought I was actually coming up the next inning. They were asking if I was ready to bat.
so wait a
Yeah.
minute. So you catch the ball, go in,
Mhm. Yep.
shoulder hurts like hell.
Yep.
At what point do you tell anybody? Like, do you tell your brother, or do you just
I
like,
told my I told my brother, I was like, dude, I got to get out of here.
yeah,
And then I told Jesse, and then eventually we just go. I didn't say anything to anyone because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to get out of there.
yeah?
Uh, yeah. So
Did you put your seatbelt on?
that was tough.
Yeah, I bet.
That was really hard. The car ride over was brutal. It was a lot of they called them spasms. But
Yeah,
basically, like you could feel the muscle trying to like flex itself back into place. That was the most pain that I could have. Then I went to the then dude, we went to the doctor and like I couldn't get out of the car. I couldn't move. Like Jesse like parks around the horseshoe or whatever, and there's like a bunch of EMTs, it looked like, standing on the side there. She's like, "Can someone get a wheelchair?" Wasn't that dramatic, but it was like,
we need a
yeah, hey,
Gertie.
yeah, we need a wheelchair. He's dying. Um, and and that was a struggle just getting into the wheelchair, and then like, uh, they're telling me a few things, and they're like, if they just do a couple of movements, it's probably just a dislocation. They'll pop it back in. Just slides right back into its socket, easy. Then I go in there and get a couple X-rays, and then as soon as they're done, the doctor's like, it's broken.
Mm.
So yeah, gonna be a while till the shoulder's back to full health. So much for the summer of trying to become active again. Good lord.
Yeah, I know. And you were ready to go and try out to be the Niners' next quarterback and everything. But oof.
See, yeah, Jesse's like, it was not that dramatic. No, it was more just like, can someone like get him a wheelchair or something? Because he's really struggling.
So after you left the game though and spotting them 14 runs, did they manage to come back without you?
Dude, it was 29-4 at the end.
All right. So you being gone wasn't a total loss, I'd say.
No, like, I could have helped. I think I would have shocked I think we would have got a couple more runs on the board had I still been there, but didn't happen. So I'm gonna be sitting upright and sleeping upright for like
Ooh.
who knows how much longer. So that's been a struggle.
Have the drugs been helping you sleep?
Yes, yes. Tylenol PM. Shout out.
That's it? You don't like any good shit?
Yeah, they gave me the painkillers at first, but I ran out of that stuff, and I don't need a refill. So yeah,
You say that now. You
yeah,
can
I know, I know. But hey, man,
help some of your friends out with those painkillers.
the doctor said make some money. The doctor said the doctor said that I'm recovering quickly. So
Oh, good.
or recovering um like he hoped that I would. So I'm feeling good. I'm ready to do the pod. It's all good.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're back, and hopefully you recover quickly. And sorry about your broken shoulder.
Yeah, it's a shame. Real shame. I don't know like what I'm gonna exactly miss out on doing, but there's a lot of things that that you need to use your left shoulder for that I didn't realize until I broke it.
Yeah, like apparently
Such
doing a
as
podcast.
such as sitting down.
You do need your shoulder to brace for putting your ass in the seat. So I do understand that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess we do use our shoulder for a lot of things in life.
Yeah, dude, you won't even know it till you break it.
Yeah, I know. Well, good recovery going forward, Stephen.
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
hopefully it's not a full 6 months, but
I don't know how the hell Steph Curry got back on the court so quick after his shoulder injury. Like,
yeah,
damn.
it's true.
Mm,
Speaking of those Warriors, let's talk about that. So
yeah.
while you were gone, we talked about a lot of things with the Warriors going into the playoffs and being the sixth seed. Andrew Wiggins going to return, and Steve Kerr gave an update today. And yeah, we got a great series coming up on Saturday against the Sacramento Kings. Just talking about this week has been awesome. On Tober to Copes, we've been going through some of the history of the Kings and Warriors, all the players that used to play for both teams. If you had to do like a starting five, Steven, of the greatest Warriors/Kings, who would you pick? And who would your
Good
coach
lord.
be? A lot of coaches in that
Good
history as
lord.
well.
Well, I mean, just for the sake of it, I'm going to put Mitch Richmond on there.
Of course.
You have
He's
to.
he's probably number one because he was
Well,
equally good as a warrior and a king.
so in that regard, he's probably number one, but probably number one would be Chris Webber. Um,
Forgotten rookie season.
yeah, but good lord, man, you just popped that question on me. I can't even list you all these Kings
Well,
and
there's
Warriors right off
so
the top.
many. There's Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, Matt Barnes, DeMarcus
Harrison,
Cousins,
obviously.
Harrison Barnes. Who else? Dante
Willie Cauley,
DiVincenzo.
Willie Cauley Stein.
Oh, I forgot about Willie Cauley Stein.
uh,
I had a whole list. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Well, but as far as coaches, that one's tough because you have Rick Adelman, who wasn't great with the Warriors, but great with the Kings. You got Eric Musselman, Keith Smart.
yeesh.
Yeah, you got some assistant coaches, Mike Brown, our guy Saintly.
Oh well, then
Um,
Saints my guy. Saints my guy.
yeah.
Saints it. That's it.
Well, hey,
Saints the
listen,
coach.
we all love Saintly, the guy.
Yeah.
The coach,
Eh,
and he'll even tell you that. But yeah, a lot of Warriors and Kings throughout the history of both teams, and yeah, this is gonna be a fun series. We kind of dubbed it the thank you, Ernie, Leandro Barbosa. We kind of dubbed it the I-80 series. It's going to be fun. Just a 2-hour bus ride. The Warriors will go there tomorrow, and they'll stay over the weekend. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Just real quick on Andrew Wiggins, the update today from Steve Kerr is that, and from Shams Charania, who got the report, it sounds as if Andrew Wiggins will be able to play in the game, but not going to start. He's going to come off the bench, probably 20 to 25 minutes. And it sounds like Dante DiVincenzo, fitting, former King, will probably get the start in his place. So, Steven, I'll give you the floor, sir. Your thoughts on everything. Warriors getting the 6th seed. Andrew Wiggins returning. We got that news about a week ago. And didn't play in any of the last regular season games. But he sounds like he's going to play on Saturday. And just your thoughts on the series, Warriors and Kings.
Oh man, I'm so excited for it. Like I was thinking about it. I'm just tired of like this. Like this is the most. This is about as spoiled as any uh, fan in the Western Conference can sound. But like I've been tired of just watching the Warriors face these teams in the playoffs just on a regular basis, whether it's Memphis or whether it's Denver, which I mean they're still probably they'll still probably have to face those teams. Maybe I mean we'll see what happens with Memphis and LA, but like and eventually they'll have to face those teams. But the fact that
Maybe.
they can get a Kings first round matchup, I'm all in on it. Something different, something new, and who knows if the Warriors are going to be in this position moving forward. Like if they don't have Draymond Green, I'm kind of, this is kind of a new take for me, but man, I'm kind of realized that if they don't have Draymond Green moving forward, I think things are going to be they're going to be a lot different. I don't think they're going to be as successful as they normally are. I think Draymond's value is really going to be missed if he does not stay with the team next year. But yeah, that being said, if this is like the last dance season, why not open up the playoffs with something that's unprecedented? So I'm freaking excited for it, man. I really thought we were going to get. I thought it was. I really thought I thought it was going to be a Memphis Minnesota series though. At that play-in game, watching the Lakers and the Timberwolves a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
That ending dicey.
Yeah.
But anyway, and Wiggins coming back. I know he's going to be getting the Steph Curry treatment, as they're saying, but I don't think he's going to put up numbers like Steph Curry. I'll say that for when he comes off the bench, because Curry sat the first 4 games, and this dude had 16 points, 34, 27, then 33 in all the games that he sat. So I don't think Wiggins is going to be providing that much, but just excited for him to be back on the court.
Yeah. No, Tom said it today on the show. He was saying we should lower our expectations of how good Andrew Wiggins is going to be when he comes back on the floor. And I kind of agree. It's been such a long time since he came back, and, we got the truth, and I'm glad that all those rumors were just rumors. Turns out that, I'm not glad in the sense that we got the real news, which is unfortunate that his father, Mitchell Wiggins, is not doing well health-wise. So hopefully that gets better for him and everything, and hopefully the playoffs and everything are able to get his mind off of that. But I think it's going to be adjustment period, and we'll see how he plays in the first, game coming up on Saturday. But I'm excited for the series, man. I really am. And the whole week we've been talking about the experience of the Warriors and how that's going to kind of give them an edge on the young Kings in this series. And there are some, Kings players with playoff experience and championship experience. You got obviously Harrison Barnes, who used to be with the Warriors. You got Matt Dellavedova, who used to be with the Cavs. Or actually, he won a championship with the Cavs or the Bucks a couple years ago?
No, the Cavs.
Okay, so he was on that team.
He was on that team.
Yeah. Well, I remember when he was. God, I hated that little run he had in the 2015 finals where he was like the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
But then that shortly ended. But yeah, dude, I'm really excited for this series. It's gonna be a lot of fun matchups. And just there hasn't really ever been a rivalry between the Kings and Warriors. There were at times when both teams were shitty, and the Bay Area, counting Sacramento, were just trying to claim between the two shitty teams who was better. But now we got, legitimacy between the two squads. So I'm very excited for this series. Steve Kerr talked glowingly about Mike Brown and, everything that he's done with the team. Mike Brown, people forget, prior to being Warriors assistant head coach, was, the Cavs head coach and the Lakers head coach. He kind of was viewed as a no nonsense type of guy, kind of a hard
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
And that slowly changed. He was a Greg Popovich disciple. And then with the Warriors, he was just kind of laid back, usually the guy in the media cracking jokes, smiling all the time. And then great filling in for Steve Kerr when Steve was dealing with his back. And I think Mike Brown went 11-0 as Warriors interim head coach during that 2017 finals run. And then Steve came back for the finals. And then even last year, Mike Brown gets the job as Kings head coach. It's announced. And that day, he has to fill in for Steve because he got COVID. And he had to fill in for a couple of games, won the big game against the Memphis Grizzlies to go up 3-1. And then, unfortunately, they lost that game. We all remember the one before I think the NFL release was happening where they just got shit stomped by the Grizzlies. But Mike Brown has experience in the playoffs. Steve Kerr definitely does. And Steve Kerr even told us today on the show that it's an advantage for Mike in that he knows my team better than I know his team. And there's a lot of stuff going on lately. The Kings just played the Warriors a week ago, and the Kings sat their guys, Sabonis, Herter, and De'Aaron Fox. And I think that was kind of more of a scouting time for Mike Brown, even though he knows the Warriors well. He could kind of just sit back and see what they do, even though they're going to change things up in the playoffs a little bit more. So I ask you, Steven, what do you think is a bigger factor in this series? The fact that the Warriors have so much experience in this time of year, or that Mike Brown knows the Warriors so well?
I think the Warriors' experience is going to play a bigger role into it because, like, there's only so much that you could do to stop like Steph and Clay when they're on a roll, no matter what you do. Like, I don't. I think the Mike Brown thing is going to certainly play a role in certain instances, but I think Steve Kerr is going to figure out his way to coach around that. I think the experience factor is what's going to and like everything that Steve Kerr has been preaching like throughout this season, it's all going to it's going to be the same for the postseason. It's going to be like late game execution, defending without fouling and doing all these different things, turning the ball, like everything that postseason experience does for you as far as like impacting the game. I think the Warriors are going to have the upper hand there. Obviously, they do have the upper hand there, but I think that's going to play more of a role into it. And that's also just me speaking. I'm not going to say I'm ignorant to it, but I'd say um, I'm not as mindful of the type of impact that Mike Brown would have as a former coach. You know what I mean? Like I know way more about like what the experience will play, how the experience will play into it, as opposed to what Mike Brown will do. Because when I'm watching those Warriors and Kings games, I never watched it thinking, "Oh man, that former coach, like he knew what was coming just because he formerly coached this team." I never really thought that during the regular season, so I don't think I'm going to think that much about that during the postseason. Maybe I will. Maybe something will change, but right now I'm saying postseason experience. What do you think?
Well, it will be a talking point if the Kings, get a lead on the Warriors in the series, definitely. But it may not be a factor at all. It may just be that the Kings are right now a better team than the Warriors. And me and Alex talked about that last week. Where has anything that has transpired this whole season, even the Warriors beating the Kings last week, has anything happened that gives you the idea that the Warriors are the better team than the Kings? They were 4 games apart as far as wins this season. The Warriors got 44 and Kings got 48. But I wonder if Kings fans and the Kings themselves feel disrespected that they are the underdogs in the series. They're the 3 seed. Warriors are the 6 seed. And I know that their experience is the huge factor in this series, 100%. And I agree with that. I'm with you, Stephen. I think that the Warriors have lollygagged for most of the season. At this point, they're out to prove they won the championship a year ago with the 3 seed. Let's let's double down and go as the 6th seed to try to win the championship. And they're very capable of doing that. I think the last 6th seed to win championship was the 95 Rockets. But has anything this season suggested that the Warriors should be the favorites over the Kings?
No, no, nothing has suggested that. The only thing that does it is experience. And you'll notice something too. It won't be a very like this may be the only time that the fan base actually gives the other team credit for what they do as opposed to focusing on the Warriors because it does feel like a lot of the Warriors losses this season have been self-inflicted,
Mm-hmm.
like just stupid decisions late in the game, just costly decisions late in the game. So, like, I wonder if it's going to be a little different in this series where it's like maybe the Warriors make a mistake, but instead of, blaming the players on the Warriors, you're looking at what the defense did and like, well, the defense kind of forced that mistake. I don't know if that's necessarily the Warriors' fault. You just got to give the Kings credit there. Maybe that will be it this series. Who knows, man? But yeah, I'd say the postseason experience factor plays a role into it. I think Kings fans are mature enough. I don't know what their fan base is like. Maybe they aren't mature enough to understand that, but I'm sure they will understand that. Although,
I mean, shit is being talked right now between the both fan bases right now.
is there really?
Oh yeah, I
You know,
mean, and it's fun just because it's got a Bay Area representation.
yeah.
Like Sacramento has always been looked at as not part of the Bay Area. People think all the time like, "Oh, you live in Sac," and you know,
Well, because geographically it's not.
no, I know, but it's 2 hours away. It's close enough,
Is
and
it?
yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not here to shit talk the Kings. I actually like the Kings. There really is nothing to hate, honestly.
No,
Uh,
no.
there.
Domantas Sabonis to me is like he's been one of my favorite players since his time with the Pacers. I just love his style of basketball, and I I don't know about you, Derek, but I'm a fan of the big man that can pass.
Are you
Passing
now?
big man, yeah, love the passing big man. When Domantas
Since you
Sabonis,
can't pass anymore.
that's what's good. Yeah, exactly. That yeah, you do. See, that's the thing. Like Sabonis, like where he's best is when he's at the elbow and he's dictating what the offense is doing. And so they're like, I'm in the shoulder, elbow,
Mm.
and like a lot of the time he's because he's 7 feet tall, he can just hold the ball above his head. I can't do it with my left shoulder right now. I can't move it in that sort of motion, but he just holds the ball above his head and just waits for the right pass. I love that about him. Um, I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. I think De'Aaron Fox has been through a lot for his career to
Mhm.
start his career, whether it's trade talks, all these different things, but he's stuck with the Kings and now he's in the postseason. I like Kevin Herter. Like there's a lot to like about that team. And then Davion Mitchell's a good player too. But um yeah, there's nothing it's not like I'm looking at this team like they're the Grizzlies or the Lakers. The reason I also thought it was going to be a Minnesota Memphis series was because I was like rooting for the Lakers to absolutely choke in that game.
Oh yeah, I was too, and we'll get to that. But
Yeah,
just as far as this series and everything, just real quick back to Mike Brown. I mean, so many former Warriors assistants have gone on to become Sacramento Kings head coaches. Luke
yeah,
Walton. We went through them earlier, but
yeah,
none of them have ever replicated the success that they had with the Warriors. And I think that Mike Brown is the first guy to really do that, not including Rick Adelman because he just had a terrible time as Warriors head coach.
yeah,
But I think that Mike Brown has changed this team, and I think he's good for them going forward. And I'm really happy that he got this opportunity. He passed on so many other head coaching jobs throughout his time as assistant head coach to the Warriors because he just loved the job so much. And it's just you're on the number one team in basketball, and you know you get championships. And now he took on this really daunting task of taking this team that has lacked playoff experience and then took them all the way to the playoffs as the 3 seed.
yeah.
I do think that there will be things that Mike Brown is able to help out with his team, just the tendencies and what he knows with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, sorry, go ahead.
No, you make a good point though. Like I didn't really give enough credence to that. There was a lot of times like during the postseason last year where you'd see Mike Brown being the defensive coordinator
Oh
out
yeah,
there. and seeing what the offense is doing and directing his player. It's not just Draymond Green on the floor. We always talk about Draymond Green being the director, but Mike Brown was certainly one of those guys. So that's going to play. There are going to be some things that he sees,
Yep.
where those plays in the regular season when they're facing teams that aren't familiar with the Warriors, when you see when when you hear like Fitzgerald on the broadcast going, why would they leave him wide open? Like, something like that. Well, it's because the offense did something that the defense didn't see. And Mike Brown is probably going to recognize some of those things, little tendencies here and there. I don't know about I'm sure they changed up the play calls and everything as teams do. So there's that. And another thing that Mike Brown was really good at doing, and this was just apparent by his press conferences, but it's just finding like the the little things, and this is just such a cliche within coaching, but it's finding like the little strengths that his players have and maximizing those strengths. Like he like it felt like Mike Brown every time he'd do a press conference, he'd be like, this guy doesn't get a lot of credit for the ability to do this.
Mhm.
And it's like that's what Mike Brown notices that we don't notice. And so maybe that can also play a role in this one too.
No, no doubt. I think that his presence and knowledge of the team will be beneficial for the Kings. At the same time, I think it's, this is not like John Gruden knowing the Raiders against, Bill Callahan. This is
No
quite
doubt.
different.
No
I think
doubt.
that this is, at the end of the day, the experience does matter, and I think the mentality matters too. It's just, I am of the full belief that I don't think the Warriors took a step back this season. It could be that they're getting up there in age, but I truly believe that they just were not invested. That's what I believe. I believe that from the get go, from Tokyo to the punch, that this was just like a yawn of a regular season. And now they're going to turn it on. And I've seen it before. We've all seen it before. I would not be the least bit surprised if they start dominating in the playoffs. But I do think it's going to be a bigger adjustment just because they're going to be hindered a little bit with Andrew Wiggins coming off the bench. And they're probably going to wait till he gets going to get him back on the starting lineup. But I do, when Clay is healthy, when Draymond is healthy, when Steph Curry is healthy, this team is undefeated when they go to the playoffs. And everything's
Yeah.
going well right now. They're getting Andrew Wiggins back. GP2 is back. So, yeah, I think they're in a good position to make a run here because I'm not really that impressed with the rest of the Western Conference. We'll get to that in a little bit here.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to take this team lightly, though, because I know
No.
Draymond Green has been talking about how he wanted this series, and for good reason. This is fun, and it's only a 2-hour drive, so everyone's going to have a good time getting to the game and everything. And the fan bases will have a good time. I really think that Golden One Center will be rocking, Steven, not Arco Arena.
There you go.
I think Kings fans will take over the arena, but there will be Warriors fans. And I do think that Kings fans will make their presence be known at Chase Center, but not to the same extent as the Warriors fans will be. So there'll be fun back and forth travel and whatnot. But let me ask you this. Would Warriors fans treat this as a huge upset if they lost this series? Do you think
I
so?
think so. I think so. I think so. Just because the Kings have basically been the Warriors' little brother in Northern California this entire time, kind of the forgotten team, you know. Like newer NBA fans, they'd be like, "Oh, what? The Kings actually existed?" Oh, blah blah blah. I don't know,
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or jokes like that, whatever. So yeah, I think they consider this a bigger upset. But then, man, I think these first two games are going to reveal a lot, though. I mean, it's just in the end, the Kings do have home court advantage. Like, and the Warriors have been just terrible on the road this season,
That is
and
true.
and the Kings with their high scoring offense, I think they're going to bring it, and but we'll see if the defense is just if the Warriors defense is a product of just traveling out of the state or if it's just a product of being away from Chase Center and having the crowd on the other team's side. Like I don't know what it's going to be, but I think these first two games are going to reveal a lot. And I think for a lot of I think it's if anyone's underestimating the Kings or anything like that, I think this is gonna reveal a lot. I think I would not be surprised if the Kings get off to just like an early lead, and have the Warriors kind of on their back on their heels a little bit. But then I expect these games to be close because that postseason experience comes into play, and yeah, I don't know. These first two games are going to reveal a lot, though.
No, with any Warriors series where they don't have home court advantage, the goal is to go 1-1 in the first
Yep.
two games. And, despite their lackadaisical attitude on the road this season, under Steve Kerr, they've never been in a series where they lost every single road game. So they got it in order for them to advance to these NBA playoffs, they have to win on the road. And I don't think they exercised any demons by any stretch of the imagination with the last two games of the regular season because guys were resting on the opposing teams. But I do believe that they do kind of flip the light switch on when it comes to the playoffs. So we'll just see if it's going to be more of a daunting task, this playoff run. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and it all gets kicked off on Saturday night at 5:30 on ABC between the Kings and the Warriors. Going to be
And
fun.
you know what? We're neutral too. See, that's the thing about this podcast. We may be Warrior fans, but we're reasonable here. You see this? We have Kings colors.
I noticed that.
Banner, and we're not changing it. We're going to keep it.
Nah, I'm not changing
And
it.
it's maybe because we don't know how to change it, and we'd probably have to pay some money to get it changed. But
yeah, I don't know if Matt Ashlock could get me a new Warriors banner in time. Shout out Matt Ashlock.
But let's just think of it like it speaks to our integrity.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Just real quick with the other playing games. You talked about the Lakers game that happened on Tuesday. Timberwolves were up for most of that game, and that is with Rudy Gobert sitting at home. And I don't know about you, Steven, but my thoughts after that punch, he should be gone. And they weren't good with him. I think that they made a huge mistake trading for him this season, and they should sign back Naz Reid and move on from Rudy Gobert because I never thought they needed him, to be honest.
So what was that trade for? Like, what were the exact details? Because I'm seeing a lot of one of the worst trades of all time. Dude, this is okay, I'm looking at it right now. Jazz received Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Leandro Balmero, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, a first-round pick in 2023, 2025, 2027, and 2029, and there's going to be a pick swap in 2026. So 4 first-round picks in the next decade, plus a bunch of players. That is, like, I thought Russell Wilson would be the worst trade of the sports year, but nope.
Yeah, going back on it would be like trading, like if the Broncos traded Russell Wilson. But draft picks in the NBA to me are also like not the same thing as the NFL. That's why they were able to do like.
Don't you love those numbers? 2027, 2029, 2026.
Yeah, exactly. So if I could, if I was the Timberwolves GM, I would try to move him again, but it may be difficult. Regardless, in that game, the Timberwolves were up by 15, and they pissed that away because once again, Karl-Anthony Towns, 2 play-in games in a row, from last year to this year, he gets into foul trouble, and they suffer without him. And then Anthony Edwards just looks like a shell of himself. I know he's hurt out there, but 7 points, dear Lord.
Yeah.
And the Lakers came back and win that game with a clutch shot by Dennis Schroeder, and Anthony Davis, as LeBron James put it, pulled a brain fart and totally just had a terrible foul. Good Lord. The shot was on the backboard. It was terrible. But in the end, they win the game. Lakers advance, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Warriors advance. It's going to make for an interesting second round because they'll either play the Grizzlies, who they hate, or the Lakers, who they hate. So this is all fun and games right now with the Kings. And I don't want to downplay it because they still got to win this series. But then they play.
But it gets personal on the second round.
Yeah, because the Warriors have their history with the Lakers, and the Warriors have their history with the Grizzlies. So I ask you, Steven, and the rest of the playing games were fun, but didn't compare to that game.
I'm glad you asked me, Derek, as opposed to anyone else who is on this podcast.
Did I ask you, or?
I'm sorry.
I ask you and only you, Steven, and then I'll start asking people in the text. I'll start asking Ernie and Jesse.
I'm the there guy,
Exactly. I ask you, and you alone, Steven, in this Western Conference, who are you most confident in? Would you
Oh,
say that you're more confident in the 4, 5, and 6 seeds as opposed to the 1, 2, 3 seeds?
oh yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. And it all has to do with experience, man.
Yep.
Like like the Nuggets are the first place team, but I don't really buy into them, dude. I really don't buy into
Yeah.
them as a playoff contender. I just it's hard for me to like, outside of um Jamal Murray, like I really can't see like how this team has improved much going from last year to this year. Although last year they had both Murray and Michael Porter Jr. hurt for the entirety of the season. They got MPJ back, I think, during that Warriors series, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did, but like I still don't really trust them. But they've also, I mean, also in that bubble series though, like in the bubble postseason, they did make the Western Conference Finals, so
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
they
yeah.
could. But there's something about the Nuggets, man. I'm just not threatened by them so much. It's maybe because of their defense. I don't know what it is, but not really from them. The Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are the Grizzlies, right? I mean, the Grizzlies do scare. I think the Grizzlies are good, but overall, Clippers, Suns, and the Warriors. Yeah, I think that's much more daunting than the 1, 2, 3 teams.
I think you could very well see, the next round. Everyone says that everyone's like upset pick is the Lakers to beat the Grizzlies. I don't know about that. Um, or maybe I do. But you very well could see a 6 playing a 7 in the second round. Like would the Suns be favored over the Nuggets in the second round? Probably with Kevin Durant and everything. I I think the seeding is the most like crazy it's ever been. Where I think that seeding in this NBA Finals does not matter, and usually
Yeah,
it's the most important of any of the three major sports. And I would say you could throw that out the window this year because I don't really have faith in the Nuggets or the Grizzlies or the Kings. They all very well could advance. They're very good teams, but I think that the just as you said, Steven, the 4, 5, and 6 teams, Clippers, or sorry, Suns, Clippers, and Warriors are all that more experienced. And really, the Clippers are kind of hindered right now because they don't know what's going on with Paul George, but they got Kawhi Leonard, who's a two-time Finals MVP, and the Lakers also have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So it's anyone's Western Conference at this point. But I do have faith in the Warriors just because of based on their past experience. And I very well could see, I'll tell you my expectations right now. I think the Warriors, and we'll pick the first round matchups and everything, but I do think the Warriors get past the Kings. And whoever they play in the Grizzlies or Lakers, I do think they get past them. So I do think this sets up, like everyone wanted to avoid being the fifth seed because they didn't want to play Kevin Durant in the first round. We'll see them. I think
yeah.
if I had to pick right now, I think it's going to be a Suns Warriors conference finals. It'll be the 4 playing the 6 seed.
It's interesting, man. But I think also what these top three teams have riding for them is like I think they understand maybe not so much the Kings. I think this more applies to just like the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. But I think they understand that like how far they go this year will determine how they're looked at in the future. Like
Yeah.
they understand that like in order to be taken seriously, like what we're saying right now, like what we're saying, I think it's I don't think there's much to argue against it. You know what I mean? I could have a pretty hard time saying that the 1, 2, 3 teams are, you know, you have a hard time like arguing against the fact that the 4, 5, 6 teams are not as I'm trying to think of the word. Sorry, I'm tired, but
Experience.
yeah, just the experience playing a factor into it makes the 1, 2, 3 teams kind of not
Yeah.
as just not as daunting. I don't know, whatever word you want to use,
Yeah, no, that's
but
fair.
but I also think though that like they understand that that's probably a fact, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's their time to try and actually have people, put them into that conversation of, oh well, you got to take this team into account. And
Prove it.
I wonder, yes, exactly, a prove it year for all those teams. So not so much the Kings though. Kings this is their first year. Maybe they have a couple of years for the class. But as far as the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, I mean, they were both embarrassed by the Warriors last year. Um, got a lot to prove, man. A lot to prove. So I wonder how much that's going to play a role into it too.
And the finals will be cemented by tomorrow when the when the Bulls take on the Heat and the Thunder take on the Timberwolves to determine who is the eighth and final seeds in each conference in the East and the West. But Steven, like a year ago, let's return wins or wangs. And I don't know if we should call this anymore because I got to retire from the wings. Sad, but just my body can't handle it.
Fair enough.
So I don't know what we call this anymore, but let's call it wins or wangs for now, and we'll
Okay.
try to think of a punishment. Maybe your punishment is you got to like extend your hand all the way up to the sky.
Oh my god, that'd be dude. That'd
Maybe
be the
too
worst.
cruel.
That's it's just using my injury against me. Like what?
I
the
know.
hell, man?
All right, let's pick these games though. Let's pick these first round matchups. I won't be that cruel in the punishment, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Let's pick these first round matchups like we did a year ago. Well, we're pick the winners and pick how many games it'll take in each series. Steven, you got some jams?
I do. Give me one quick second. I wasn't ready with the jams, but I'm ready with the jams now.
Hit me with those jams. No, that one always sucks. You always play that one.
Lofa. Okay. What about feeding the ducks?
No, give me the one with the guitars. You know what I like. Feeding the ducks. Good lord.
This is sick.
Sounds like sounds like a Chris Brown song.
I'm feeling
Hey
it, man.
girl, come with me. We're going to
Hell
the
yeah.
park and we're gonna feed the ducks.
Hey, yeah. Bring some bread or some cheese.
All right, change this
Whatever
shit.
you want. Okay. Yeah, damn. That was sounding good. I like that one. We need something new. What about night driving?
No, these are all seductive. Good lord.
We'll go with this.
There we go. Just the classic garage band one. All right, Steven. Here we go. NBA playoffs start on Saturday. And it all starts with the Eastern Conference. The Nets still made the playoffs despite dismantling their team, but they made it, and they're going to play the 76ers. So, Steven, who you got winning this series, and how many games is it going to take?
Well, this one is I mean, I don't see this being much of a series. I'll give the Nets a game, but give me the Sixers in 5 in this one.
All right, taking the Sixers in 5.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go even stronger than you. I'm going to say a clean sweep. I am taking the Sixers in 4 because, Ben Simmons against God, that's totally downplayed. Wait, is Ben Simmons even playing?
Should be.
Yeah. Well, you never know with him. God, so he's gonna go back to Philadelphia for the playoffs. That has not been talked about enough. And that's gonna be fucking with his head. So I'm taking the Sixers to win in 4. It's been a great job by who's this Nets head coach? Jacob Vaughn, I want to say.
Jacques Vaughn.
Jacques Vaughn. Great job.
Jacques Vaughn. Jacques Cousteau Vaughn.
Great job by him to get him to this point, but they really didn't set their team up for the best postseason success. So I'm taking the Sixers to get a clean sweep. All right, let's stay in the East. You got the Hawks playing the Celtics. The Hawks won their playing game against the Miami Heat, so they are the 7th seed, and they take on the Boston Celtics, who, dealt with a lot of bullshit this season too, from Ime Udoka and all that stuff, and now they're the second best team in the East, and just like they were a year ago. So, Steven, how long do you think this series takes between the Hawks and the Celtics?
Same as the last one. I'll give the Hawks a home game, but do the Celtics in 5.
I'm gonna go the same. I'm gonna give the Hawks just a nice 1 win. They'll probably sneak. And they're home in Atlanta. Trae Young trying to prove people that some bogus trade rumors apparently. But yeah, I say the Celtics advantage. They're that good of a team. Let's keep staying in the East. We got the Knicks taking on the Cavaliers. Cavaliers make the 4 seed in their first season with Donovan Mitchell, and the Knicks are back with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. So, Steven, who you got in this series?
Woo!
This is an interesting 4-5 matchup.
Yeah, this one's really hard to choose. Man. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna give the tiny bit of experience the Knicks have in the postseason, and I'm gonna give that to them. But I think it's gonna be a long series, though. Give me the Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7. I like where your head's at. I think that for whatever reason, I like the Knicks playoff experience, even though they just were there a couple years ago. But I'm with you. I'm gonna take the Knicks in 6.
And Jalen Brunson's red hot too. So
Jalen Brunson's red hot. They got the better coach, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Knicks, and we're gonna hear a lot of annoying Knicks fans for a while on TV. But yeah,
I did forget about the Julius Randle injury, though.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
How long is he out?
A couple of weeks.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I still like the Knicks. I'm still gonna take the Knicks.
That's brutal, man. I might have to change my pick.
Well, change it now.
I might go Cavs in 7 then.
All right, Cavs in 7 then. There you go. Cavs in 7. I'm taking Knicks in 6. Yeah, that kind of rhymes.
Yeah.
All right, last one in the East. We'll know who the true winner is tomorrow, but Bucks will take on either the Bulls or the Miami Heat. I'm gonna say it's gonna be the Heat, but either way, how do you think this series goes with whoever they play?
Sweep from the Bucks. Sweep from the Bucks.
Yeah, if it's the Heat, they may steal a game. If it's the Bulls, I say a sweep. Nevertheless, I'll just take Bucks in 5. All right, so there you go for the Eastern Conference. Then the West. Let's start out with, let me go Saturday. Well, the Warriors are the only Western Conference team playing on Saturday. Let's save that one for last. So Sunday, you got the Lakers and the Grizzlies. This is probably the spiciest one of all the series, just because where the hell is Shannon Sharp going to be? So what do you think about this series, Steven? Lakers and Grizzlies. Who do you think is taking this one?
In the end, like I think that Timberwolves game said a lot. And I really think that without like you said, without Karl Anthony Towns in the final few minutes of the game, without Anthony Edwards, like actually being Anthony Edwards, the Lakers still couldn't even dominate, which they should have. And I think that showed a lot. But I do think they're going to take a couple of games. But look, man, I got the Grizzlies at 6. I think the Grizzlies are a very good team. Although actually the Grizzlies don't. But I gotta take theirs into account. I also think they're missing Brandon Clark for that series too, or at least for a couple of games in that series. That might change some things.
Still going?
Yeah, whatever. I'll go Grizzlies at 7.
Grizzlies at 7. Okay. Yeah, this one's close.
It's a tough one.
It is tough, but I do think the Grizzlies are the better team.
Yeah.
I think that, like you said, Steven, they struggle to get through that playing game. And I do think it's going to be a close series, but I'm not really sold on the Lakers yet as a playoff team. So I'm going to go the same as you. I'm going to say Grizzlies win in 7. I think it's going to be a tight series.
Yeah.
Staying in the West, we got, this is going to be a good one, Clippers and Suns. Clippers are dealing with an injury to Paul George, but they may get him back by the time that they play on Sunday. And a lot of people don't know how this Suns team is going to be with Kevin Durant in the playoffs. They're undefeated with him in the regular season, starting, but are they going to gel well with the minimal of games that Kevin Durant's played with the Phoenix Suns? Steven, how do you see the series going?
How about you go first? I want to see what your opinion is on this one going first.
You know, I love Kawhi Leonard, but I don't know what's up with him. He is the ultimate load management player, and I think it stems back from his injury with the Spurs, honestly, because I remember going to that finals with the Raptors and the Warriors, and Bonte will tell you, we watched as he walked around with the finals MVP trophy in his hands. He was limping significantly. So I don't know if he's ever going to be back to being 100%. And he even had the torn ACL a couple of seasons ago. So I think it's going to be hard for him to carry the load by himself. I think the Suns arguably are the best team on paper in the West, but they are pretty limited with their bench. But then again, you watch the Clippers and Suns a week ago, the final game of the season, and that Suns team that played the Clippers actually played pretty well with Damian Lee and everybody. In the end, I am going to take the Suns, and I'm going to take them to win in, I'll say 6.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Suns in 7.
Suns
I
in
don't.
7.
I don't think any. I don't think either of these teams are getting a win on the road.
Ooh,
I
okay.
just don't. Yeah, I'm just taking the. I'm just taking it for what it is and giving the Suns the home court advantage there, and I think they win in 7.
All right, we got the 1 seed Nuggets. They can either take on the Thunder, the up and coming Thunder, or they will take on the Timberwolves. And we don't know yet if Rudy Gobert is going to come back for tomorrow's game for the play-in, but I don't think they really need him. And I think the Timberwolves will play that much better against the Thunder, so I'm going to take the Timberwolves to win that game. But Steven, either way, how do you think the series goes with the Nuggets playing either the Thunder or the Timberwolves?
I think it's going to be the Nuggets in 5. I think they're going to take the first 2 at home, steal 1 on the road, and then win their final 1 at home.
Yeah, I like that actually too. I'm gonna take the Nuggets at 5, regardless of who the team is that they play. And yeah, Nuggets are a good team. They should handle whoever they play in the first round. But are they gonna be like the Jazz? Are they gonna be like a team that was good for most of the regular season and then they can't even make it to the Western Conference Finals? We shall see.
I mean, they have been reeling too lately.
Yeah, they have been, and dealing with the injury to Jokic, but he'll be back and healthy for the playoffs. Finally, we got the big one. Warriors and Kings. Steven, how do you see this one going?
Oh God. So can I just say Warriors in 7?
You could say it if you really feel it.
Yeah. Give me the Warriors in 7.
I feel you, Steven. But I'm going to say it's one less game. I'm going to say Warriors in 6. The way I see it, usually with the way the Warriors go, the first game may be a little too much for them, so I'm going to give the Kings the win on Saturday night. But then the Warriors tie it up. We go back to Chase Center 1-1. And like the usual, Warriors, they dominate at home, and we're up 3-1. And yes, I said we. This is where I can be a fan.
Okay.
Then the Warriors go back to Sacktown, and, they're not going to close out the Kings in Sacramento. Those fans got to get jacked up, and we're going back to Chase Center. We're going to steal this series. And that's where it ends. We'll go back to Chase. It'll be a 6-game series. Warriors win 6.
Okay. All right.
So that's how I see it. That's how I see it. Should be fun, though. This is probably the most interesting playoffs I can remember in quite some time, especially in the first round. We could see a lot of upsets. That Lakers-Grizzlies game could go either way, in my opinion.
Yep.
Real quick, your thoughts on the Giants? No, they didn't look very good opening day. Against the Royals, and then a lot of people asking for Farhan's job after their just the way they performed against the Dodgers the first game, and then last night they have their struggles against Max Muncy. It's well documented. Your thoughts on the Giants lately?
Yeah, what am I supposed to think? 12 games into the season, they're exactly where everyone thought they would be. 5-7. Like, they're probably going to be 80 and 82 by the end of the year. Like,
that's my biggest thing to. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
This is what we expect.
Exactly. That's my biggest thing when I talk to Giants fans is, did you expect something different? Like, I know that they made minor upgrades with Haniger and Conforto. Those guys have been injured. The whole outfield has been injured, actually. They just lost Roberto Perez for the season today. Blake Sable and Joey Bart. Don't know what you get with those guys at catcher, especially with Joey Bart. Logan Webb has not looked like himself, but he's also played really good teams to start the season. Yeah, like, did you expect anything different? I know they struck out on Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa. It's early. It's 12 games in, but maybe it's the fact that the Giants are struggling and everything that they thought was going to happen is happening so quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is for them, man. Like, some games they'll look fantastic, others they'll just look dead in the water. So I don't even know how to read this team right now this early into the season. This is what I expected. The only thing that I will say is that the offseason signing of Taylor Rogers so far has been a terrible one.
Yeah, not great. 4 straight walks
Um,
last night.
yeah,
Oof. That
yeah.
was rough to watch, and I don't know what throwing your glove in the trash benefits anybody.
It's like Tony Sperano, R.I.P.,
Yes,
burying the football. After after who was it that got fired before Sperano? Was it Dennis Allen?
it was Dennis Allen.
Yeah. So burying the football, saying that we're gonna we're burying the football now. This is gonna be new football for us, and then it just looked like the same team. Maybe Taylor Rogers is like, I'm gonna throw this glove in the trash as a metaphor for throwing how I've played so far this season in the trash, and now I'm gonna come out better than ever.
My favorite question last night, I listened to the audio, was the reporter asking him, "So are you gonna leave your glove in the trash?" Yeah, that's where it belongs.
Oof.
Are you gonna get a new glove? Well, yeah, of course he is. If that one's gonna go in the trash, he needs to get a new glove then.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Maybe he's a professional baseball player, Derek. He can get a new glove.
of course, he's gonna have to if that one's gonna stay in the trash and go to the garbage dump. By the way, have you noticed this weird thing that Gabe Kapler's doing now, where he does his post game pressers in the dugout?
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of
but
weird.
he's done that a little bit.
Has he? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. No, Gabe.
Interesting guy, that Gabe Kapler.
Has
All
a
right,
hand tattoo.
Steven. In 2 weeks' time from today,
Uh-huh.
we'll have the draft going. Can you
Yeah.
believe it?
I've been circling every day on my calendar until that very day, Derek. So I actually can believe it because I've just been paying so close attention to it.
Steven, I'm getting a vibe this year that you are not down with the fuckery as much as you were in the past.
Because last year there was actually stuff happening.
Yeah,
This
this
year,
week.
not much has really happened.
Well, for goodness, goddamn Aaron Rodgers trade is just taking its sweet ass time.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about that because the draft is coming up in 2 weeks, and I've been doing my deep dives a little bit. I talked with Alex about what I thought about the quarterbacks, and I'll tell it to
Yeah,
you too.
you can give me a breakdown on the receivers if you want because I got nothing for you on receivers from the
Oh,
draft era.
I'll break it down. But first and foremost, I was shocked by the Odell news just because I thought he was going to go to visit the Jets on Monday, and that was a done deal. And then he was blown away by the Ravens offer. It's just shocking because no one knows what the hell is going on with Lamar Jackson. So you'd think he signed with the Ravens because he's got some indication that Lamar is going to be there. Press conference today, nice ceremony and everything, but Odell says I have no indication that he's going to be there. It's just, I'm going to be playing for the Ravens, whoever the quarterback is. And to me, I'm not surprised. That is just Odell saying, they pay me a shit ton of money, so I'm going to be here. Would it be nice if Lamar Jackson comes and plays for us? Absolutely. But that's not the reason I came here. He came to the Ravens because he got his money. So, Steven, just your thoughts on Lamar or Odell Beckham signing with the Ravens. Did you think that was going to happen?
I did not. But this also shows, man, Lamar should just sign with the team and let players come to him because, like I think kind of like what OBJ wants. I think a lot of other players would like to play with Lamar on their side. Maybe some wide receivers would think, well, you wouldn't get much action, considering he's going to be like a big RPO guy, where a lot of the time it's going to be run. But I don't know. I was kind of surprised at the deal. I was a little surprised at the money too. Felt like that was a lot.
It felt
Like,
like a desperate move, honestly.
yeah, like I don't know if it is, but like it felt like a lot. Like 1 year for 18 million felt like a lot.
Well, for me, Odell had a good situation going to the Jets because it would be very similar to him going to the Rams
Right.
because prior to Robert Woods tearing his ACL, he was a luxury piece, not a necessity. So he was going to be the second receiver, and he got open looks all the time because so many people were focused on Cooper Kupp. If Odell would have went to the Jets, sorry, Garrett Wilson's the number one guy, and Odell would have benefited from so many receivers on that team that he would have been an afterthought in some people's minds, probably, but maybe not. Because of the ACL and everything, he would have not had to, carry the load as the number one receiver on the team. Now that he is that guy on the Ravens, I don't know how this is going to work out because this is a lot to ask of a guy who's coming back from another torn ACL. So good he got paid and good on the Ravens to try to make this as a bargaining chip to get Lamar Jackson back in the fold with them. But I don't know if it's going to work out football-wise. Not a big fan of the move, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. They're still like it's not like they've catapulted themselves into like the most feared teams in the AFC. Like that still belongs to the Chiefs, still belongs to the Bengals, still belongs to the Bills,
Yeah.
and if and this is a segue into it. You see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
And if the Jets end up trading for Aaron Rodgers, then I put the Jets up there too.
The fact that you have to say if, just ugh. So the latest with this bullshit is that Charles Robinson of Yahoo says that they had a chance to get this deal done, but I know I roll my eyes with every new piece of information. I guess that Woody Johnson didn't sign off on the deal because Aaron Rodgers said that he was 90% retired on the McAfee show, and the original offer was a second-round pick with a first in 2024 no matter what. And I wouldn't do that deal just because I would make it a contingent pick based on what Aaron Rodgers does. Regardless, there's so many differing reports, and Albert Breer said that this deal is going to get done maybe by next week or by the draft. I think it's going to get done by the draft. I even think it may get done days before the draft because I don't think anyone wants to deal with this bullshit. I don't think it's fair to Jordan Love to deal with this bullshit. I think it's just time for everybody to move on. And I think that the Jets should get a pick back if Rodgers does retire. I think that is fair. So I think they'll find a middle ground here. What I don't care for right now is Adam Schefter pulling his usual bullshit of just trying to get people like. There's a difference between Twitter Adam Schefter and TV Adam Schefter. Twitter Adam Schefter that's where he makes his money. He gets the dollar bills because he puts out the tweet before anybody else.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Exactly. And Schefter on NFL Live every day seems like a guy that's just pissed off talking about the same bullshit all the time. So when he's on NFL Live and I forget her name, but whoever the host is of NFL Live asks
Laura Rutledge
asks him repeatedly, what's going on with Aaron Rodgers? What's going on with Aaron Rodgers? And he's like, hey, this deal could be done by, the draft, or it couldn't. It could go into June. Who knows right now? That's him being frustrated / also trying to build up some TV ridiculousness.
That was really good.
Yeah, I tried.
That was a really good Schefter. Well done.
Well, the last couple of clips I've seen of him is just him being frustrated with the last couple of days, the conversation's been like, so who's trading for DeAndre Hopkins? Listen, okay, DeAndre Hopkins could be traded or he could be cut. Who knows? I was up at the gas station. These people are asking me he's going to trade to the Jets. I don't know right now. And I think that Schefter is frustrated, and I think he also wants to have the intrigue of people being like, well, maybe Aaron Rodgers doesn't get traded to the Packers by the draft. This is also the guy that on draft day hijacked the draft with the Aaron Rodgers news when I'm sure it was true, but also was not needed that day. So my hope is that Aaron Rodgers does get traded by the draft. I think it is going to happen. What I don't think it gets done by the draft is the DeAndre Hopkins deal. There's been so much talk this whole offseason about DeAndre Hopkins and where he's going to go and everything. And we've heard Bills, we've heard Chiefs. I think at the end of the day, no one's going to pay for his contract because he just makes a shit ton of money. I think he's due like $30 million this year, and his cap hits like 19. The only way that he gets traded is if someone trades for a low draft pick and the Cardinals take on most of his contract. I don't see there's any chance in hell in someone wanting to do that. So I think that the draft comes and goes without a deal getting done for DeAndre Hopkins. At the end of the day, DeAndre Hopkins gets cut by the Cardinals. Then he can make a pick on where he wants to go. He can go to a good team. I don't think there's any chance in hell at this point. I could be wrong that DeAndre Hopkins gets traded under the circumstances that he gets paid what he's, offered right now with his contract.
I hope they all get traded just for the sake of
Not
your
having to talk about this
mind,
anymore.
just for the sake of your well-being. Because it seemed like the way that you just said, Charles Robinson said this. What?
Well, Steven, this is the part of the year that I hate the most, where I'm trying to enjoy the NBA playoffs and I'm trying to enjoy baseball and I'm trying to enjoy, the Stanley Cup playoffs coming up pretty soon. There's always those Dove Climates posts that I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Wait, no, is this real?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'm not buying the smoke screen of the Texans passing on C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I think they're taking a quarterback.
all right.
Well, what do
All
you
right.
think?
Look, man, I don't know what they're gonna do, man. I don't. I think Rodgers is gonna get traded. I do. I think they're
Okay,
gonna get it done. There's
but
just
when?
before the draft, like right
Okay,
before the draft, since Mike Florio posted that one article where he said that the Packers can wait until the draft. They don't have to do any sort of deal until the draft, until they get what they want. I've kind of prepared myself mentally. Okay, so he's probably not going to get traded until the draft. Like
yeah,
that's it.
no, that's
So,
fair.
and when it comes to Hopkins, I have not done enough research into the Hopkins thing to know what's truly going on with that. Like, and that might
Basically,
be that might be an issue with me, but I
no,
have
and
not
no.
done
The,
my
the
due
the issue is that
diligence with
you no.
DeAndre.
The issue really, Stephen, is that you have a life and don't care about this bullshit. Where I, for whatever reason, I do care about this. Just pulling up the Andre Hopkins or contract here, just real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, he is due 19 million this season, and his cap hit's going to be 30. Yikes! So I had that reversed. But yeah, I think he's going to get cut. I don't think there's any team that wants to deal with that. That's a lot of money. Um, Last podcast I talked to Alex about the quarterbacks in this draft,
Yeah,
and there's rumors right now that the Cardinals' number 3 pick is up for sale, and we talked about this a long time ago, Steven, and I think the Raiders need to do this. And I'm not so sure anymore because I watched the quarterbacks, and I think that there may not be a closer quarterback draft as far as 1 and 2 between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. I'm that impressed with both of them. I like C.J. Stroud just a little bit better because he's bigger and he can take the hits a little bit more. But I think he's going to be a great player. I think Bryce Young's going to be a great player too. I just don't like his smaller build, but I still think he'll be fine. Then I think there's a huge drop off after that. If I had to rank them, I would go C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson.
wow, you
Hen-
rank those 1 through 5.
I would, and I think that Hendon Hooker is just, he's suffering because of the torn ACL that he had last season. And I think the Raiders could very well wait until the second round to draft him because of that. I think that Will Levis most likely goes to the Colts. I think there's a lot of hype around him right now. I like him, but I don't love him. And Anthony Richardson, he looks like Trey Lance to me, where he flashed at the combine. He's got all of the right, athleticism. But as far as a NFL ready passer, I don't think he's ready at all. He probably needs a good 2 years to get ready. And that may be, what the Raiders want to do with Jimmy Garoppolo playing and then sitting Anthony Richardson. But if you're in that competitive AFC West with the Chiefs, with the Chargers, with the Broncos now with Sean Payton, I don't think you can afford to waste your 7th overall pick on a guy that's not going to benefit you for the here and now. So I think it's better for the Raiders, honestly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, to draft a defensive player at 7 and then maybe look elsewhere in time for their quarterback. That's where I am at right now.
Okay, I mean, but they don't need someone who's ready for the here and now when they got Jimmy Garoppolo here for the next couple of seasons. Like, so they don't necessarily need a ready now quarterback like, say, the Colts or like these other teams at the top of the draft, like the Panthers. I don't think they're like those teams. So that's where I'd argue against that. But I also think that you would have much more of an idea as opposed to I do about how these guys may fare in the NFL. But that talent from Anthony Richardson is really hard to just pass up on. to me.
I understand that. I think there's also a lot of hype around him right now because he flashed at the combine. And I see the talent. It definitely is there when you watch, some of his tape. And I'll tell you right now, Steven, I didn't just watch the highlights. I watched actual games, and like YouTube actually does a good job of doing like quick cut ups of guys and like every throw they have in a game. So I watched all 5 of those quarterbacks. I watched the games that they lost. I watched their bowl games, and I came away very impressed with the top 2 guys. No surprise there. Hendon
Yeah.
Hooker, I thought was really good until he tore his ACL, obviously. Will Levis and Anthony Richardson are projects. They need time to develop. And the Raiders could want to do that, but I think that you're better off getting like Christian Gonzalez or Joey Porter Jr. or Devin Witherspoon, any of those corners that they really need, or even a pass rusher for, an aging Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
So that's where I would be at number 7.
Yeah. I mean, the only, well, you know how you were saying, like, with your argument for the Raiders and them possibly either releasing or trading Derek Carr before before that happened. You said, well, the Raiders better have a good backup plan. Well, I'd say, boy, if you don't pick a quarterback at 7 here, then you better have a damn good backup plan. And that pick at 7 better be a good defensive player. Like I think it's not. I'm not saying that these guys in the draft aren't strong defensively, but I'm just saying that if you don't pick a quarterback at 7, like it's a lot hoping to wait for just Hendon Hooker too in the second round.
Yeah.
So like I would also say like there's no guarantee he's going to be there. So I'd say you better have a damn good backup plan if you're not drafting a quarterback with that 7th pick.
Well, also, do you want to, potentially trade away draft capital to move up from 7 to 3? It would take a little bit, but not a ton. At the same time, I do feel comfortable in the fact that if you're comfortable with Will Levis going to the Colts at 4 and you want to wait till 7 to pick a quarterback, I think you can also do that because I'm not convinced that the Seahawks are going to take Anthony Richardson at 5. If Jalen Carter is available right there, they'll take him. That's what I think.
All right. Interesting. Okay.
Because usually when we get to the draft, there's always so much hype, and the draft analysts are all focused on one guy, and then teams just feel a certain way about somebody. And I could see this very well happening with Anthony Richardson, where teams like him but don't love him.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's where I'm at with that. But let me do a little deep dive.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Give it to me.
I gave you the lowdown on the QBs already, and the running backs are easy. There's 2 guys that are worth talking about, honestly. Bijan Robinson is just the best running back of this draft, hands down. And then you got Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama, who's more of a pass catching guy like Alvin Kamara. So just watch out for those 2 guys. But Bijan Robinson's the guy. As far as the receivers in this draft, you got Jackson Smith. I'm gonna get this name right. Njaba. I believe that's how you say his last name.
Okay.
And I think he's the best all-around wide receiver in the draft. He's kind of like just Garrett Wilson. He catches everything. He is, I wouldn't say very explosive, but just a good possession receiver. A guy that's probably going to catch like 115 balls a season. Kind of shifty. Didn't play much last season, but was dominant when he played with C.J. Stroud 2 years ago and had an amazing Rose Bowl. So just to abbreviate his name, JSN, best receiver in this draft, hands down.
Okay.
Then you got Quentin Johnston, who is a big-time receiver from TCU, big body, biggest receiver in the draft probably. And he's got, a little bit of speed, but he's going to catch all the deep balls and probably all the jump balls in the end zone. Good red zone target. So if I had to comp him to somebody, I'd probably go maybe DK Metcalf a little bit, but I don't know if he's that fast or that explosive. I've seen a few plays here where you saw the play in the playoff game against Michigan where he had that breakaway run for a touchdown that was like 75 yards.
Right.
But I don't know if that speed's going to translate to the NFL. That's the one thing I don't know if he's like super fast, but fast enough. So I would say he's probably the second best receiver of this draft. Quentin Johnston out of TCU. Then you got Zay Flowers, who's probably the quickest wide receiver in this draft. really small but shifty, and going to be a great slot guy. The only thing is he's probably a little too small. He's about 5'8", 5'9", I would say, maybe taller than that, but he looks small. So he kind of reminds me of Antonio Brown, but he's going to be very fast, very explosive. So I like him as the third best receiver in this draft. Then you got Jordan Addison, and he's just all around solid. He played at Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett, and then he transferred to USC. When you watch him, he's just a solid receiver. He kind of reminds me, like, he doesn't do anything spectacular as far as like his speed doesn't like make him stand out above everybody else. He's just got good hands, good possession receiver. If I had to compliment anybody, he's kind of like Kendrick Bourne a little bit, or Nelson Aguilar. So maybe not a number one guy, but a good complementary receiver. So I like him as the fourth best receiver in this draft. And then you got Jalen Hyatt, who played with Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. And the biggest thing I noticed with him when I watch his tape is that he is completely wide open every time, and he's just fast. Kind of reminds me of Chase Claypool a little bit in the way that he plays, the way that he looks, but he's faster than Chase Claypool. Just really fast, completely wide open every chance I see him with Hendon Hooker. It may just be that the way that the offense is lined up and plays with they do a lot of read option passes at Tennessee with Hendon Hooker. So that could benefit him, but I like him as the fifth best receiver in the draft. So there you go with the 5 wide receivers and the deep dive of this draft.
Well, I'll take your word for it. Have they been doing any path of the draft stuff on NFL Network?
They have, and I haven't watched a lot this season, but when I can, I pull up the old the YouTube clips of these guys. And listen, I'm not going to act like I'm some draft expert or anything. I'm not. I just tell you what I see, and these are just the guys that I like. And I look at mock drafts and all this shit, and we'll see what happens. But I just tell you what I like. I'm not gonna tell you that I know as much as anybody else because I don't. But that's the way I see it.
Run down the list one more time, just like put the names.
Jackson Smith, Njigba. I think I'm saying that right, but if I'm wrong, I will correct myself for next podcast. Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, and Jalen Hyatt.
Okay. All right. What about Josh Downs from North Carolina?
Didn't watch his stuff, Steven.
What about Tyler Scott from Cincinnati?
Steven, I just picked some 5 names that I thought were the top prospects, and those are the guys that I went with.
I'm just looking up. I'm
not breaking. I'm not looking at everybody's game tape like I'm fucking Mike Mayock here. Jesus.
Well, how are you going to have the top 5 wide receivers in this draft and not watch all the wide receivers?
Good point. Okay, this is the way I'll phrase it. These are the top 5 receivers that I watched.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. All right, there you go. That's good. Phrasing matters. Don't eat, Grandma. Don't eat, Grandma.
There you go. No, in all honesty, these are the top 5 guys that people are saying are the top 5 guys, and these are my opinions about them. And they add up. So that's the way I put them in order.
All right, good call.
There you go. Should we do a little pop culture catch-up?
A little pop culture catch-up? We could do a little pop culture catch-up. Let's do a little pop culture catch-up.
All right, then. We always got the ticker ready to go. Wednesday night has become the night for the shows that I watch. I got South Park now. I got Digman, really, really, really funny show. New follows South Park with Andy Samberg. You got Dave that comes out on Wednesday nights. Dave is back, and that's been funny. What else is on Wednesday nights? Ted Lasso drops. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, as far as Wednesday night shows, all been funny.
Yeah.
Haven't seen the new Ted Lasso, so I'll catch up on that. But yeah, those are as far as the shows I've been watching, Steven. Let me get to this real quick before I throw it back to you on pop culture catch up. Saw the movie Air. Everybody's watching Super Mario, and I hear that's funny. I actually heard Jack Black's song in the movie. That when it comes to streaming, I'll check it out. I think it'd be weird as a 32-year-old man to go to the theater to watch Mario by myself.
On your own, yeah.
Yeah. But I went to go see Air, and solid flick, good performances. Ben Affleck as Phil Knight was a little weird, just because he didn't look like him at all, and he didn't, it was just Ben Affleck being the CEO of a company.
Yeah.
Have you seen it all by chance or no?
I saw it last night.
Oh, great. Okay, so let me get my 2 cents. Matt Damon does a good job. Uh, Chris Tucker does a good job, but man, does he sound old? Do you think that at all?
Yeah.
Like he sounded like a lot older?
I don't know. I was more focused on like his accent because he had like this little accent
Yeah.
change. He did a little something with his dialect, and like I watched his little Chris Tucker breaks down his most iconic characters things for GQ, and he really put some work into trying to sound like the actual Howard White. So
Okay. Okay.
I was more focused on that, but yeah, I mean it's kind of the same thing as like Dave Chappelle when you see his first stand up in a while, and it's like you realize their voices aren't the same.
Exactly. Um, the best performance, hands down, to me was the guy that played David Falk, uh,
Yeah,
Michael Jordan's agent, because
yeah,
they don't do a good job of that in The Last Dance of just that's showing how brutal he was. He was a brutal son of a bitch, from what I've heard or read back in the day. So that was fun to see. As far as like an entertaining movie, Viola Davis does a great job too as Michael Jordan's mother.
yeah, yeah.
And like no spoilers or anything, but like you don't see Michael Jordan in the movie. It's kind of like it's like a George Steinbrenner thing with Seinfeld. You just see the back of his head. Um, wasn't it a interesting movie? Yes and no. Like it could have easily been a documentary. It's not really compelling as a movie. Like it was fun for like sports fans to watch, but like I think the average person would kind of be bored with it, honestly. Like it wasn't very engaging with the story in my opinion. But it was fun.
I disagree.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts then.
Well, no, I just think like I mean, I went to see it with Jesse, and Jesse's a sports fan, but she's not like a huge basketball fan, and she loved learning about that whole thing. She didn't know like Jordan was the first one to really kind of get representation as a player for a shoe, as opposed to it like being, the player that fits the shoe, as opposed to it being the shoe that fits the player. You know what I mean?
Right.
So she didn't know that. That it kind of sparked like a whole generation of what these guys get now. I thought it was fascinating, and clearly the decision to not show Michael Jordan was planned. And
Yeah.
I think it was I'm sure it was a very much talked about decision, but I love that idea. Like I because I think when it came to his shoe deal, like what struck me was that the ones who were making the decisions really wasn't they were not Michael Jordan. Jordan has had his demands. All right, I'm gonna get this red Mercedes. I want this much money, blah, blah, blah. But like really the ones who were making the decisions were and getting this deal done were his mom,
Hmm.
sort of his agent, his dad being involved, and then of course everyone at Nike who made the who did that. Plus, it's like Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Yeah, like how can anyone play him in a movie? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
It'd
tough.
be like, but at the same time, you know, like the trailer that was there before the movie was the trailer for that new George Foreman flick that's about to come out. The George Foreman, is it biopic or biopic? I think it's biopic. But the new George Foreman biopic that's about to come out, like
Yeah,
they managed to
biopic.
get someone to they managed to get someone to play like Muhammad Ali and all them. So I don't know. I like that decision. I thought it was just super entertaining. I love that it was like an ode to the '80s. The soundtrack
Yeah,
was great.
definitely
Just
was.
the random shots of like the old school, like choices at 7-Eleven or like the just everything. The phones. I love the
Yep.
phones. I thought Jason Bateman was really funny, although they didn't really show like too much of what he did. And I thought you were gonna say the guy who was the best in that movie was the guy who designed the shoes.
I mean, he was fun and funny, but no, hands down, the guy that steals the movie is the guy that plays Michael Jordan's agent.
He was really good. Dude, I couldn't stop laughing though at that scene in it's just at that scene in the meeting. I don't want to give too much away,
Yeah.
but um, like I like those movies though where you don't really know about the ending because it kind of speaks to that little cliche, something that probably Phil Knight lived by, which is like it's not about the journey, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey to get there. And that's really what this was that what this movie was about because everyone knows, like, obviously he signed a deal with Nike. Like, if you don't know that's with Nike, then you've been living under a rock, you know. So everyone like that's what it was all centered around, whether he was going to choose Nike over Adidas and Converse, and everyone knew that he was going to choose Nike. So I thought seeing the build up to it, I thought it was really cool.
Well, I mean, would you say the ending was interesting though, and the fact that we already knew what was going to happen?
Well, no, but I don't know, it gave me chills a little bit though. Kind
No,
of.
I mean, it was an interesting like way to show it and everything. I honestly thought of it like more as how sports negotiations go because that I went to go see it the same night that Odell went to go see Odell signed with the Ravens. I just kind of related to that in the sense of like what it takes for a company or a team to wow a player and everything they have to go through, all of the sacrifice that everybody does on the pitch meetings and everything that they think is going to wow them and the money that's involved and the budget and who's the guy at the top pulling the strings to give the okay to everybody. I kind of looked at it more through that. But I mean, it was fun. Like, I don't know. I'm glad that it was in a theater. I could have easily seen it, at home as a streaming movie, but I'm glad it was in a theater. I'm glad that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were a part of it because, they're sports fans. I don't know how they felt as like Boston Celtics fans doing a movie about Michael Jordan, but um yeah, I thought it was a well acted movie. I just don't know if it was like thrilling or gave any insight to something that like nobody knew before.
I can give a little bit of insight.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but um, God, that scene on the phone with him and the agent
Oh,
after
it's fantastic.
After Sonny Vaccaro went to meet with the parents, that was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
So yeah, I would give it about 3.5 Steiny yes.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. I
Well,
give it 4.5.
there you go.
Yeah, not gonna give it a 5, but I'll give it 4.5.
There you go. See anything else lately?
Oh boy.
You probably watching a lot now that you can't move around.
Yeah, the first night or the first day, I just decided to watch like Pirates of the Caribbean 1, 2, and 3.
That's
2
like
and
your
3 are
good. I feel like anytime we do this segment, you've referenced that so many times.
only once because I was making a big point
Oh yeah,
in
with
that
Jesse about yeah.
if a movie is one of the top in their specific genre, that makes it one of the greatest movies of all time. Full stop. Full stop.
Well,
Jesse wasn't
well,
having it.
what genre would you say that the Pirates movies are?
I'd say it's more in the fantasy adventure format.
So, what would you say is the best fantasy adventure format movie?
Probably Lord of the Rings.
Really? Ugh,
Yeah, yeah. I'd say it's right up there.
okay.
You know, so would the like Steven Spielberg and Austin Powers Gold member, where he's like holding up the Oscar. My friend here thinks it's fine the way it is. So there you go. I watched
Jackson
that.
Smith Njigba
Ah, okay.
finally figured out how to say it.
Um, what was the what else did I watch? Oh, I watched that Full Swing documentary, the Netflix one.
Yeah, I need to get around to watching that.
Yeah, it was good. It's just like the thing that makes it different from Drive to Survive though is that Drive to Survive goes through all 22 drivers and you can kind of get to know them, whereas Full Swing it only goes with a handful of golfers. Those it was really well done. It was great. It's just it has a little less oomph to it. And what did I watch? I mean, I watched the Inside the Boss or the Manhunt for the Boston Marathon Bombers, the Netflix documentary that just came out, and I watched like all of it last night. It's just 3 episodes, but I'm always fascinated by that.
Nice.
And they had like the head of the FBI and like the superintendent of the Boston Police Department, all these guys speaking there. I'd never heard them speak about it before, so that was interesting. And not many movies though. Not a lot of movies, I guess. Really, Pirates of the Caribbean. So the only movies that I watched.
I watched I'd actually never seen it before, but it's actually like fairly old. You ever seen Road to Perdition?
No.
Tom Hanks kicking some ass.
Whew. Okay.
Only
to
time I would say that Tom Hanks shoots a gun in a movie I can think of.
Didn't he shoot one in Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, about to say. Well, we all know that's a bunch of lies now.
Hmm.
Still great movie. I actually watched that a couple weeks ago.
Road to Perdition. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I want to get to this more next time we do a podcast, but what is going on with HBO Max turning into just Max? And they're going to change like all of the shit with pricing and everything. Like I want to save my feelings for it, but like, ugh. Killing a good thing. Yeah, we'll talk about that more next time. Plus, YouTube TV. I thought that Sunday Ticket was going to be much more cheap when it moves to that. Not the case. So I don't know if it's worth it watching every single game. I can just chill with Scott Hansen and watch Red Zone. Honestly,
Can we do one more thing?
sure.
All right. I'm going to show you chronologically photos of my arm because I got to. It's the only way to do it.
All right, audience,
All right.
get ready.
Share my screen here. This is
Yeah,
a little weird.
Oof, that's like a multiverse right there.
Yeah, it is. Okay, you got it there.
I see.
Did you see the arm?
No,
the arm there?
I still see just your Opinion Man screen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't working. This isn't working like I hoped it would. Oh no.
You can't can't share the photos?
Oh no. Wait. Can I?
You showed me
No.
that thing you baked a couple months ago.
Yeah, the potato.
Actually,
I still have that.
that was like a year ago, honestly.
Does this work? It's not working. No.
Ah, damn. We won't be able to see your fucked up arm.
Oh my god, this is a hang on. I've got to make this work. This has got to work. Give me one second.
Steven, I think we're running out of time here.
No. We're gonna do this. We're gonna share it, and then
Yeah, the podcast audience will love this.
go to it. Okay? Can you see it?
No.
Is it blocking everything? Can you not see my screen?
We're still in a 2-box, dude.
Oh, what? Chrome has lost permission. Go. There's way too much. Okay, there's way too much.
All right, next podcast, we'll see your disgusting arm.
All right, perfect. Jesus,
how about that?
Failed.
I know. That was terrible.
Unbelievable. We're back.
Sunday we'll be back to review game 1 of Kings Warriors, and yeah, it'll be quite the hootenanny up in Sacktown.
All right.
Steven, glad you're back. Hope you ice up that arm or shoulder. And yeah, say what you always say, my friend.
It's just our opinion, shoulder man.